We were focusing really, a lot of people focus in education on three-dimensional learning. Yeah, a lot of people talk about the hand, the heart and the head. We can talk about mastery of knowledge and skills. You can talk about character growth, and you can talk about academic progress. You know, there's lots of different things that are aligned to these three different attributes: work hard, get smart, be kind. But there were a couple of things that were missing for me. I always joke about that I get to do all the boring things, like actually making sure that we exist.
Of course.
And making sure that we're going in the right strategic direction. So, you know, I deal with the operations of the school and the strategic direction as well. And I sort of started seeing these as like if you want to call it the brioche bun of the 3 pate culture burger. Yeah,
I love that. I absolutely love that.
It was like we were trying to say, yeah, we're not going crazy in lockdown. We're not in cabin fever or anything. But this thing looks remarkably like a burger.
Absolutely.
You know, when we first opened the school, we wanted our students to be agents for social change. That was a cornerstone of what we wanted our students to be. And as you quite rightly said, we've based our curriculum on the expeditionary learning model from the US. And so activism really is at the very heart of what we want students to do and what we want students to be. And so all of our expeditions have a product at the end of it. So the learning is focused around acquiring knowledge so that you can do some good with that knowledge and you can create something with that knowledge.
Right, okay.
And, you know, so when we first opened our first expedition, the very first thing that we did was an expedition called What Makes a Successful Community.
Yeah.
Because what we wanted to really kind of explore with our students and with ourselves really as well was about that idea of where we are, of our community.
Mm. What happens to people when they become better leaders? What do you see in them? What do you see in these people who've been on this journey?
Ultimately, you see that they want to give as much back. So better leaders identify how they got to the top of the mountain.
Yeah.
And they realise that they did it by collaborating, by having an opportunity, by having someone who believed in them, for giving time to explain certain things.
Yeah.
To give a chance if you make a mistake, talk through that mistake, to fail sometimes. I think there's nothing wrong with that. Learning how to overcome that, be it in your personal life or in school. And because they've experienced that and they can narrate that, be it in a passage, a final word, or an interview process, they're a lot quicker to give that to other people who they identify who are on their journey that they were on.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think, and we see that in our schools. We see that at Plover, we see that at Greentop, we see that at Norton. We're beginning to see that at Carcroft, and we certainly see that at XP.
No, totally. And I was just going to ask you that, actually. What does equity look like to you on a daily basis?
Equity for me, I think it's making sure that everybody's got the tools they need to do their job. And that might change week on week. It might change term on term. That the staff are kitted up, tooled up. They've got the time, they've got the space, they've got the examples of good practice to be able to go to so that they can meet the needs of children. And actually, I think as a member of the exec team, it's making sure that you split your time so that we talk often about meeting staff where they're at.
Yeah.
And that's absolutely brilliant. But what that means is sometimes it takes a bit longer, but when we get there, it's we've done it together.
Yeah.
We've all travelled in that same direction on the same boat, which again is what's going on upstairs just now, doing that curriculum mapping. So I think equity for me across the schools is making sure that each school, each member of staff gets what they need to be able to flourish and be the best version that they can be of themselves. And so there's not again, going back to the send, there's not a one size fits all. It doesn't look the same for everybody.
No.
Some staff might need, or some schools might need, a bespoke one-to-one support mechanism on a weekly basis, which I do offer some schools. Other schools are happy with the network provision, which runs every 6 weeks. We can come into schools, and we can base ourselves in schools to support them.
Yeah.
So I think equity depends on the needs of the school and what their staff body looks like as well.
Yeah.
But I love that. I think that's brilliant.
Yeah.
It means that each term your daily job list might look quite different. Because you might have achieved that at one school, and you can move on and do some different work somewhere else.
I guess one could say different mountains, but everyone always gets to the top.
Yeah, exactly. That's it.